you buy a Taurus plushie, you can win a chance to be one of 6 people to cameo in the 5YL motion comic. If you lose, you still get to keep the plushie, and that's pretty neat. Grab one with the link below. Hey everyone, Kuro the Artist here. Bringing back the UAF trio in Omniverse is already a tall order. Back in the pilot, when we see them all fight Zombozo together, it's teased just how deep they've evolved together, and the amazing potential stories Omniverse could have had if they stuck around just a little longer. But they were swiftly swapped out with Rook before the episode ends. No hate towards Rook, he's probably my top reason to watch Omniverse as a whole. But as last week's poll has shown, you just can't beat the chemistry these 3 display on screen. But starting with season 2, they do make periodic returns to the series. Usually to help save the world, but also for some fun side stories as well. And truthfully, I can't think of a single bad one. Something about having Omniverse Gwendolyn and Kevin on screen improves every episode, and I think it goes beyond the attachment the audience may have had from the previous series. Omniverse builds upon what UAF established and gives them even more independence. Kevin and Gwen have been together for a while now, and embrace being a strong and casual couple. They no longer have to prove their relationship to anyone, especially themselves. And you can tell how well they work together just by the way they interact. Omniverse also allows Gwen to develop her magic far more than UAF ever did, and also plays with Kevin's power set further with unique design choices. They even get a dog in their own magical headquarters down the line. It really makes you wish that Lucky Girl spinoff came to pass, as Friedkin University is rich with potential. But as we're not quite there yet, let's stay grounded in this episode and ask ourselves, now that Ben and Rook have their own thing going on, is there even still room for Kevin and Gwen? Absolutely. Everyone in this cast displays a perfect synergy. Not only are they all great together, but it's fun to mix and match them too. That's the key. Any combination works. Kevin and Rook, Rook and Gwen, Gwen and Ben, Ben and Kevin. It's all great stuff. But now without Kevin and Gwen, how does just Ben and Rook compare? Well, they're still pretty great too, but I wouldn't say they're as strong as the UAF trio. Even in the bad episodes, the chemistry between the trio can usually pull through and make the episode more watchable. And while I love Ben and Rook at their heights, they just don't carry the show with the same amount of investment and enthusiasm. But whenever we get all 4 of them together, you already know you're in for a good time. If this is your first breakdown and you're curious about how my rating system works, there's a detailed description down below, along with a link to all my previous breakdowns, but by all means watch this one first, I'm sure you'll still enjoy it. But we do have a few quick updates. Ben 10 is back streaming on Netflix and Max. Honestly, not that big of a news flash, but folks in the comments are always asking me where to watch Ben 10, and also the more we support the official release, the more likely we'll get another series. So if you're doing chores, studying, gaming, hanging out, or whatever you got going on, throw on some Ben 10 and let's get those streaming numbers up, folks. Also, last time I asked if Gwen's
It's Heroes Time
should count towards the hero time counter, and it seems like most people were in favor for that, so I'll be adding on an extra one starting with this breakdown, and then we'll be up to speed. And finally, the 5YL motion comic is coming out October 16th, and the first 3 episodes will air that week. We're releasing episodes in batches rather than weekly. It just seems like the way to go, so please give those a watch when they drop if you haven't already checked out the comic. Anyways, let's jump into the episode. Jonathan Callan, another newcomer to join the writing roster, has given us Many Happy Returns, which first premiered December 1st, 2012. Kevin and Gwen return to Bellwood on spring break, but Kevin comes with the ulterior motive to hide from one of his previous old scams. This one involving a Tetraman princess's hand in marriage for, you've guessed it, a piece for his car. Obligatory Omniverse backgrounds appreciation. I like the use of cross-hatching. Also starting out with saving someone from a burning building. Now that's some classic Ben 10 right there. The ash falling too is a nice touch.
My little girl's in there!
Da-da-da!
Ben 10!
Accelerate.
Another Omnitrix activation technique. We've seen him rotate the hologram icon by sliding up and down. We've seen him just hold it down and it spins. Now we're seeing him make some type of circular motion. And I've talked about this a few times before, but just to double down, mistransformations are always based on Ben's intention. So even though, yeah, we do see him here selecting Wrath, Ben wanted to turn into Accelerate. So this is probably just a case of him not paying attention.
Let me tell you something new, Omnitrix!
A double counter.
This isn't a job for Wrath!
DiMaggio's like, damn, is that what I sound like?
Stop worrying! Hello! You want a piece of Wrath fire?
The ashes come down and singes his fur. It's such a great looking scene. Must have been one hell of a time putting this together. All this stuff, the smoke, the debris, the fire, special effects. There's even flaming trails off of the debris falling from the ceiling. Kind of makes me want to look at the heat blast scene again. This looks pretty good too. They got the heat wave ripples on here. I don't think Omniverse does that.
I'm here to help.
Still so good. Still holds up. It's got that camera shaking there.
This way.
And Heat Blast's densely charged fire shot, which I don't think we ever see him do it that way again. Man, Classic and Omniverse do have very different art styles, but they both handle fire effects very well. UAF didn't do a burning building scene to compare, right? The closest thing I could think of off the top of my head was when that building blew up after Greg took Rad. Oh, yeah.
I don't have to worry about getting the roof fixed.
So their ashes look traditionally drawn, opposed to Omniverse's CG effects.
What happened to Rat?
I think this doesn't look too bad either. I think the one thing it's missing is a little bit of a color grading shift. Classic and an Omniverse changed the color palette to be a lot warmer. And while UAF has the effects and they have the shadows, it doesn't have the color changes. So what if we... Ooh.
Nothing to do. Agrigor has all 5 of the aliens.
I'm going to use their powers to save them.
Pre-rendered, these effects make it lag a little bit, but yeah, just a little bit of color grading goes a long way.
Kitty!
There's a subtle glow effect on them too.
Kitty! Let me tell you something, tiny nearsighted girl with a worried dad.
Another great Wrath interjection.
What's your problem?
I like the brain crab better.
I always loved that line. The entitlement is real. But yeah, it sucks that they can't use Brainstorm. I don't know if I brought this up yet, but Brainstorm is seldom used in Omniverse because his toys didn't sell well, so the network wanted to pull back on his transformation, which was one of the reasons that Derek suggested Psychobos being a Cerebro crustacean, so that they can still use Brainstorm in a way. And whenever we get to the Brainstorm scene, y'all know the one I'm talking about. Like, once you see that, it's hard to not want more Omniverse Brainstorm.
Madison!
I swapped my dolly!
Of course you did.
See, I find Wrath funny when you put him in a bunch of different situations. There's some scenes where the humor comes from just Wrath being Wrath. Those don't really work for me, but I think if you take Wrath's extreme personality and put him in certain scenarios, that kind of humor is what I really like. Like, it's pretty funny to me that he has to go back in just for the doll to make this girl happy.
Ralph doesn't have all that!
Who could it be?
Hey, Tennyson.
Kevin?
So now we got a pretty solid look at Omniverse Kevin and Gwen. We already saw them in the More Things Change Part 1, but they've had a couple of changes since then. Kevin's now got a striped shirt and some chin whiskers he didn't have before. I still would have saved the holsters for this, though. I don't think he should have had them in the More Things Change. He should have came back with them. Gwen, on the other hand, has a completely different outfit. The original one was pretty much just the UAF Gwen in Omniverse style, whereas this actually changes Gwen a little more significantly into the Omniverse flavor. Now, I'll admit, I was one of the people that was very thrown off by this look originally. I didn't dislike it as much as some other people. I know some people really hate this design, and I do prefer the other one. I think it fits Gwen a lot more, but it does kind of take Gwen back to her classic series roots in the sense that she's wearing like graphic tees and stuff again. She's got the beret, so... I mean hair clip. I don't know why I said beret. I see what they were going for, and I do like the glasses as well. In 5YL, I try to like mesh the two vibes, leaning into the clean-cut professional look of UAF Gwen while still maintaining a little bit of fun in her appearances. The thing I want to tell is please read 5YL Ben 10.
Let me tell you something, Kevin E. and Gwen Tennyson!
I always forget how massive Wrath is in Omniverse.
Former teammates back from college!
See, they really don't look bad to me. I think like most changes with Omniverse, it's such a strong change from how they used to look back in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, but these really aren't bad designs. I do think sometimes they do draw them a little funky though. I think that's what it is. Like there's this one frame that gets shared around a lot when Gwen shows up in Ben again, where she's drawn a little wonky and it's like, maybe this ain't the way to go, but you know, generally I do think it's fine. So I do think it comes down to who's drawing her as well. It's just not a solid enough design to look good no matter what.
Nobody saves Ralph!
They're both just smiling the whole time. They're like, man, I missed you, Ben. And they're all just casually standing in a burning building too. Like, isn't it hot in there? Yay. I also just realized Ben finished saving everybody. Like, everyone's fine. So that means this whole crowd stayed around in anticipation to see if Ben was able to save that doll. Like, that's what all of this was about. They come out holding up the stuffed animal and everyone's cheering. They were in there for a bit, too. I hope their lungs are okay. And the change to Mr. Smoothie, don't forget. Ah, Kevin's car. I've missed you, buddy.
Like the new look, cuz.
See, Ben digs it. Also, funny enough, Gwen was drawn in the storyboard with her look from the More Things Change.
Like the new look, cuz. How's college?
It's exactly like saving the universe.
So had they not caught that, this line wouldn't make any sense.
I'm on
spring break.
Spring break, huh? So given that it's been all but confirmed that their birthdays are in December, I talk about that at length in a fairly old video now, which I'll link down below, but it's pretty much true. That's one theory I will say you could probably take as canon. And given in the United States, spring break is around March, and they're still 16 as they were in Ultimate Alien, that means from this one line, all of Ultimate Alien and the first season of Omniverse all took place in 3 months. That can't be true. That's impossible. Like, this easily could have been solved if they just aged them up another year in Omniverse. I don't understand why they didn't do that. Like, why keep them stagnant? Maybe to make it seem more timeless, I guess. Like, oh, these characters don't age, so we can have infinite fun adventures. But, like, Ben 10 does take timelines a little more seriously than other shows. Like, we can't just be like, oh, it can be any date or time in any episode. Like, it's just not that kind of show. So they can't just be throwing lines in like, oh, Gwen's on spring break at college. And, oh, by the way, they're still 16. Like, that doesn't work. And I'm bothered by it. I am. I don't give a shit. I hate that. I hate that so much.
Kevin has a job? At a garage. My own cot and everything.
Good for you, buddy. Moving on up. I'm proud of you, Kevin.
Oops. Help me get some more.
No, pick that up, man. Don't you leave that on the floor.
Ben, you gotta hide me.
Hey, look at that. Some heat ripples. Mr. Smoothie.
Ah, my ride! What is it about this town?
I love how it's getting attributed to the fact that Kevin's back. Like, whenever he's not on adventures with Ben, his car is fine. Oh, yeah.
Get in!
Wow, 4 people fit in the front seat of this vehicle. I mean, it is pretty wide, even when it is just Ben and Rook.
We'll never outrun that in a van.
Yeah, I love seeing this thing transform. Always looks really cool. Although the first couple of times we saw it do it, it would be this part that would just shift and morph into the front part of the ship. But here it's being treated as a protective case that opens up and reveals the front part. So kind of like Cannonbolt rolling up into a ball. It's animated slightly different every time.
This is Rook. I don't always get him, but he's cool.
The feeling is mutual.
It's great to see them being buddies now. Narrative-wise, it was good to allow them to take some time to get used to each other and truly appreciate each other. But now that we're there and they're actually friends, I dig it so much. This is the Ben and Rook that I love. Look at this stretch of buildings. That's a pretty good CG set. There's even a decent amount of diversity with the buildings. That's an awesome shot. Jumps out and transforms into a wall. Ooh, too slow, buddy. This is such a great scene too. Really good looking backgrounds and a lot of dynamic camera angles. And this shot right here of blocks coming up, I always thought looked really good. I was always debating if this blocks is CG or not because his frame rate is noticeably much higher. And also some of these angles, like an angle like this is just one you wouldn't normally see in like a traditional 2D drawing. There's a certain level of perfection and imperfection that you can just tell. Maybe it was a CG model of blocks that they drew over in 2D because every frame looks drawn. Like these imperfections and stuff is definitely from a 2D drawing. It's just so precise. Yeah, it all looks like 2D drawings, but the way he's animated and the specific angles chosen, I feel like he was rotoscoped. His scene just looks too perfect. Like, I would be so impressed if he was just drawn from the ground up 2D right here for this shot. I wonder if this is the big hole where the Crabdozer fight was in the first episode. Nope, it's not. This is just another big hole in the ground. With all the fights Ben gets into every week, there's probably giant craters all around Bellwood. 3 episodes ago, the whole city was encased in lava.
Gravitoric boosters?
Gravitoric. Nope, nothing on that.
Detrovite nav system?
Detrovite, that is Volcanus. Apparently they have good navigation systems. Either that or Volcanus bought a company that makes these.
I think there's even some Galvan tech on here.
It's Ben 10. There's Galvan tech everywhere. You can sneeze and wipe yourself with a tissue and it's probably a Galvan tissue.
Quiltep nano shift transformer?
I don't know if I can spell that.
Ben, he's got a nano shift transformer.
I love seeing Kevin geek out about the proto truck. That's one thing I really love about Gwen and Kevin in Omniverse is they don't make them rivals with Rook or anything. They just all get along. In fact, all 4 of them together together is probably the best dynamic. As much as I love the UAF trio, I would still throw Rook into the mix. All four of them is the true power. By the way, buy a Taurus plushie. They're on sale till the 23rd. And up to 6 people can win a chance to be in 5YL. I'll either draw you as your OC or as yourself. More details in the rules down below.
Any ideas?
For once, I'm gonna let you figure out who's after you.
I talk a lot about how Ben is so desensitized to his heroic life, but Kevin and Gwen are as well. They're like, oh yeah, some dangerous alien who's fucking up Elwood is after Ben again. What else is new? Property damage be damned.
I have some reading to catch up on.
This is a sweet ride.
Yes.
Get out of town.
Knowing Rook, imagine if he just did get out of town.
That's the coolest person you've ever hung out with. What's going on? We need to stay hidden.
I know a place.
So we've seen tiny one of these things robbing cars. Then we saw apparently they're small enough and low enough intelligence to be treated as pets, but now we see a gigantic one compared to them going shopping. I have no idea how these crab things work. I give up.
How long has this been here?
I'm not really sure.
Gotta be somewhere to hide.
Hey!
Yeah, just stay in this giant tube for the whole episode.
I was thinking of majoring in anthropology.
A fine idea. I took several extranet classes.
See, Rook gets along with Gwen and Kevin. The trope that the new guy being rejected and outcasted by the old regulars is so expected that it's actually kind of strange how well they're clicking. Like, I feel like any other show would have made them rivals, and Rook, after having to prove himself to Ben, would now have to reprove himself to Kevin and Gwen, but no, right off the bat, they're all cool with him. It's so good, because they all work well together too, and they have great personalities.
Rook? Do you know why Ben is trying to hide Kevin?
Kevin and Ben think they're being so sneaky about it too.
Kinda hard to miss.
That was close.
What is going on?
I'm always a fan of vehicles with these big old exhaust pipes on them. Here we go. Oh yeah, Archit's in this episode. I guess it truly is a reunion.
I didn't want to give you up, Kev. She made me. I am Princess Luma Redwind.
Luma over here is voiced by Kimberly Brooks, who, like David Kay and Eric Bauza, joins the cast as a handful of characters. Oh wow, she was also Madison in the opening scene. I didn't even think to check for her voice actress. Whoops.
Here to claim my husband.
Kevin?
11. You are mine.
Look how when she squeezes, there's like small little red particles. Did she squeeze so hard she cracked her skin?
Are mine.
Damn, imagine doing that. You're just like, ugh, so angry, and you just pierce the flesh on your palm.
I had not heard.
Brooke's so happy for him. What a supporting dude.
I meant to tell ya.
Go on.
It's not the first time we've heard that response from Gwen.
Look, Gwen, you have to treat a car like you treat a woman.
Go on.
Ah, bet you thought you could escape that clip, huh?
Why have you been hiding?
Man, that was instant. It was like,
Why have you been hiding from me?
it's hard to hear it in this scene, but Omniverse Kevin gets like a filter whenever he absorbs stuff.
I wasn't hiding.
You hear that?
I wasn't hiding.
Also love this little swirl and these extra textures on him for absorbing the wood. He did get extra textures when absorbing wood too in UAF, but OV adds like some extra flair to it.
I was sick. A flood. Vilgax attacked.
I love all the Vilgax name drops before he actually shows up.
Just replace Vilgax with a pompous art history professor.
So like if Omniverse is your first series, it's building some type of legacy for him. Since Omniverse is leaning heavily into Kevin becoming the material rather than coding himself into it, you can see the wood is chipping straight into his cheek. Well, Gwen really took her time forming that shield, huh? It's like, alright, I'll let him get knocked around a little bit. I do like the hexagonal shapes.
Terraspin.
Now, was he going for somebody, or was he just smacking it down without thinking and hoping he gets someone good? Because he has done that a couple of times before. Just been like, well, let's see who I get without any designated transformation. So I'll count it as a mistransformation, but I do think this one could be debatable. Wow, when she punches him, she's not wearing her glove, but in the same shot, she lifts her hand out of frame, then it comes back into frame with the glove. It's like she forgot her glove, and she's like, ugh. Oh wait, hold on 1 second. Okay, let's go. See, watch her hands. That's great. Ooh, animating the pipes. That's kind of nice. Damn, timed out really fast there. Do they all have to be on the bike?
Hey, you gotta pay for those rentals!
Here's Wyatt again, Derek's Galvin self-insert on top of this big robot here.
Hey, you gotta pay for those rentals!
And then they throw Tanens at him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ben gets paid by the plumbers now, because this is the second time that he's been able to afford something in Undertown. Although, if he's a paid employee of the plumbers, then... well, we'll talk about that later.
That's Luma. Been after me since we left campus. It's a long story.
Wow, all of a sudden Gwen's wearing a crop top. She does wear a crop top in her Lucky Girl outfit, but as a human, the shirt does come down to her waistline. Also, is there really no released model of her Lucky Girl form? No way, there really isn't. Huh, go figure.
Fine. During me and Argent's more questionable days.
I love that Argent has longer hair, like his UAF appearance, so that shows his new spiky hair in Omniverse isn't an art style thing. He literally got a haircut. Kind of ironic, because he's always asking Kevin about his haircut. And this right here would be 14-year-old Kevin surviving the deserts of Koros. They released his model art, though.
I needed a piece of tech from the Tetramans.
I love the way Koros looks in Omniverse. It's awesome. It's the Desert Kingdom look. Fantastic, especially their soldiers. So this is Luma's father, Gar, who's missing his lower left eyeball and arm and one of his horns. I like that he still wears the horn cracked though and doesn't get it fixed. Shows how prideful he is in the ways of battle.
They said there was no way. I was an outsider.
An outsider who was at least able to strike a meeting with the king. Why'd they even let him in? And we have young Luma here too, who basically has the same appearance as her current self, except is a lot scrawnier, and also wears a lot more wrappings in the future too. But if this was only 2 years ago, that is quite the growth spurt. Same thing happens with Atea. Man, these aliens are aging fast. Maybe it's us. Maybe humans just age slow.
So I made a deal. I got what I wanted, plus a fiance in the process.
So he married a princess just to get an engine block. That's, well, Big Chill put it best.
He stole. He ran. That's Kevin.
I'm not proud of it, but it happened.
Now Gwen's shirt is back to normal.
I'm not giving up my car to some spoiled four-armed princess. Oops.
Come on, Kevin. You gotta treat a car like you treat a woman, not treat your car better than a woman.
Tetramans do make indestructible engine blocks.
How else do you think that car has survived all the beatings you've given it?
That is a fair point. Kevin's car has blown up. What are we looking at here? 33 times since Omniverse began?
That poor princess.
And I love that Gwen, despite, you know, the situation, still feels sympathetic for Luma. It shows how empathetic she is in viewing things from a larger perspective than her own personal feelings on it. But also, damn, that chin. See, this is what I'm talking about. You move the slightest hair of proportions and she looks totally off.
You're not.
What'd you expect? The jealous girlfriend routine?
You fucking go, Gwen. Hell yeah.
You're the one that jilted some vulnerable alien girl.
Preach.
I will fight for your love, Kevin, even if I must break every bone in your tiny human body.
You know, they're playing this like a threat, but nowadays most people would be into this.
Let's do this!
This is very quick, so it doesn't matter, but they're not really animating Ben transforming into Accelerate. They're just making Accelerate's frame overlap Ben, and you can see that they don't really line up. Like, look at the arms, and then the chest starts forming behind Ben's chest. And look at that, you can still see Ben's chest a little bit, and then the bottom of his chin scoops into Ben's eyes. I'm only really pointing this out because a lot of the times Omniverse is really, really good with their transformations, even the quick ones. Man, the amount of people in Ben 10 that could counter a speedster is ridiculous. Like,
I'll rip you.
like, what's the point of having super speed if everybody can see you coming? Bro was fast enough to slow down time in the classic series. Imagine if he goes that fast again and runs up to Luma and just like rapidly pokes her in the eyeballs or something. Be pretty graphic. Like, I'm not saying I want him to do that, but it just kind of sucks that like Accelerate having super speed a lot of the times is just for visual flair, but almost everybody can still counter him pretty easily.
Sorry, lady! You can't hit what you can!
That's cool. Yo, I keep forgetting that Argent is here. Usually when Argent's in an episode, he's very interactive and talkative, but here he's fallen to the sidelines pretty hard.
Where's Ben?
Oh, Rook.
Look, it's probably just a misunderstanding. I don't want to fight you.
Man, as always, Gwen's handling things exactly how I would have in these scenarios. At least for me, she is the most relatable character.
As though
Granted, it doesn't work. Luma's not really a talk things out kind of person, but worth a shot, you know, right?
I would ever lower myself to fighting a girl!
Now, that's such a stupid line. I don't even have to get into it. Like, what the fuck?
What did you call me?
And Gwen's like so offended by it too. Like, what is this? Is this supposed to be like a pro-female moment right now? And this triggers her fucking Anodite form? Like, God. What a weird and random thing to throw in the episode. Now her Lucky Girl Anodite hybrid thing is a really cool idea, trying to like fuse together the magic and alien assets of her. I do wish they leaned more into the cat mask. You know, the thing about Lucky Girl was she was wearing like a very cat themed aesthetic, and like she's got the logo, sure, but perfect opportunity to bring back the mask. Even Alien Force brought back the cat mask. Like, what is this? This is probably the weakest part of her outfit. That and the t-shirt. I'm not big on the t-shirt aspect of it, especially with the logo overlapping the stripe down the shirt. Actually, yeah, no, the more I think about it, it's just a cool concept, but the outfit itself, I'm not really digging. I don't know. How do y'all feel about this outfit? I think the more I look at it, the more silly it looks. It's just not great.
And as for you...
Voice filter's pretty cool, though.
Gwen!
It's a little tricky to catch, but when they change angles to Gwen, it's the exact same background but unblurred. Look at the shapes of these rectangles and then this building, and then they cut to the other shot, which is supposed to be the opposite view of what Luma's seeing. And boom, there it is. It's the same shot. And when she goes back to human, her hair magically parts again. Magically.
You now face Warlord Gar of the House of the Red Wind.
Gar over here is surprisingly not voiced by DiMaggio. Can you believe it? They're giving this man a break. Instead, he's voiced by David Kaye. Although Kaye is starting to fall into all of the roles that DiMaggio would have. But at least they're able to start splitting them up.
Turn Kevin Levin over to Luma, or Earth perishes.
Yeah, everybody wants to blow up the Earth.
I am not with them.
Boy, I wish that was true.
Hey, Gar, how's it going, Pops?
Now, the way he says the afterwards, trailing off of the word Gar, at first I thought that his name was Gaara, like Gaara of the Sand from Naruto.
Hey, Gar, how's it going, Pops?
You hear that? Like, so when I first saw this, I was like, damn, they named a character Gaara.
Hey, Gar,
It wasn't until I saw the credits at the end of this episode did I realize, because I think this is the only time they say his name, too.
how's it going, Pops?
Kevin? I will do anything to protect my daughter's interest.
You and what army, Gar?
Okay, well, I'm wrong. I just missed that the first time then. Or thought of it as slang, like calling Kevin Kev, calling Gaara Gar. Imagine if Naruto did that. He just rolls up. He's like, hey, what's up, Gar? Even their ships have 4 appendages. That's awesome. Omniverse goes so hard with their ship designs. Like, every ship in Omniverse looks awesome.
Let the wedding commence!
Man, I wish weddings were this easy to set up. But oh my god, animating these pipes coming up like this, that's precision. Yeah, this looks awesome. This episode's definitely getting a 5 for visuals easily. Kevin and Gwen come back. The opening scene was awesome. The blocks chase was awesome. The animation overall is awesome. And we're not even at the big fight between Ben and Luma. Like, I'm just gonna say it right now. It's getting a 5 in visuals. There's no way it's not.
Warriors and gentlemen.
This Tetraman is voiced by D. Bradley Baker. I like that we're getting such diverse body shapes for Tetramans too. We get this really scrawny one. Gar's like this big hulking brute kind of dude. We saw a very slim Luma who then started packing on the muscles as time went on. A lot of great diverse body shapes for Tetramans.
We are gathered here today in...
Although to be fair, Alien Force did give us oh shit. From Alien Force the video game, he got a toy. Oh my god, and he actually shows up in Omniverse too. Gorvin. Good old Gorvin, you know? My buddy, my friend, Gorvin. We go way back. Is it Gorvin? I actually gotta check. I have no idea. It is. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Gorvin. That's Gorvin for you. Classic Gorvin.
In the eyes of Zed.
So Kevin named his dog after the Tetraman deity? Okay. Sure.
Love is a battlefield.
Now, when y'all hear that, do you think of Pat Benatar or Jordan Sparks? Place your bets down below. Who's the true queen of the romantic rumbles?
We gotta stop this.
Part of me wants to let them go through with it.
Me too.
That is all.
I don't want to fight you.
That's why he turned into Crash Hopper, right? Because he serves a great chance against a Tetraman.
Do you allow this?
Yes.
Oh boy. And when we find out what this means at the end, that's a great twist.
What good fortune!
Wait.
You can hear Dee still improvising a whole monologue in the background too. Oh man, that punch. The animation combined with the motion blur just makes it like a... Yeah. Great pose for Crash Hopper. Shows his flexibility.
Is this one a trained fighter?
No.
Oh, right. Because Ben has never trained
Gotta expand my repertoire.
a single day
95.
You all completed the course.
in his life.
We're practicing.
Luma is my greatest warrior.
Come on, Ben! Earth in the balance!
Oh shit, the chase music from the More Things Change Part 2. They do use this track again. It's such a good track.
Turn into way big and step on her!
Yo, Kevin is like all the fans right now.
Doesn't Benny know the rule about...
I swear I was going for Cannonbolt!
Cannonbolt would probably do pretty well against Luma, especially in this arena where he could bounce around her, like when he was fighting Kevin on the Galactic Gladiator ship.
Dodgeball!
I like that gong when he gets thrown.
Let's see some hustle out there! New alien!
That's a pretty good move right here. She uses her upper arms to hold his arms back and then her additional arms to elbow. That's awesome. The power of dubstep. Damn, Luma's reaction time is insane. Ben's coming in swinging. Catches both of his hands and smacks him. Yo, I've been giving forearm shit for years, but when they make Tetramans fight with all four of their arms in creative ways, that's what makes them cool. I'm digging that. But a lot of the times, forearms is just the strong guy.
Well, that's that.
But I'm not good with commitments.
Hope Gwen didn't hear that.
You know why I always win?
Because I don't give up.
So we've seen forearms in Omniverse twice now, but only as his 11-year-old self. This is 16-year-old forearms. Another very divisive design for forearms. I am not a fan. This looks really stupid to me. Every single Tetraman in this show looks cool except for Ben's actual Tetraman form. Bro's out here looking like he's gonna sell me some body oil. That's cool though. Their punches collide and there's a slight pressure buildup, but it explodes in Ben's favor, knocking Luma back. Good shit, and it sends the shockwave all the way up.
Female Tetramans are traditionally stronger.
Yeah, but Ben's the main character. This priest is still going. He's on autopilot. It is pretty dope that Ben's fighting in his Tetraman form. Despite what I've said about forearms, I do think it was a smart move for Ben to become forearms to fight Luma. It just makes sense. Now you're just like your dad. Also interesting to see forearms kick. Luma's like, I can do it too. I thought she elbowed him in the dick for a second. That could have been Waybig's foot right at the start. Gar smiles at his unconscious daughter. He really has appreciation for great battle technique, regardless if it's his family members or not. He's like, damn, you actually knocked my daughter out? Ben knows what's up.
The champion fit to marry my daughter. Wait, what?
Gotcha, Ben.
Daddy's loaded!
Oh, hell yeah. Just do it, Ben. Marrying Luma means you have the entire Tetraman army on your side, which would make heroing much easier, especially when the Earth gets invaded by frogs next season. Plus, you get a rich father-in-law, and he already pretty much blew it with Julie at this point, so yeah, why not?
You have but to name it.
Do it, Ben. Do it.
Tetraman females are pledged to the male who defeats them in battle.
That's quite the tradition. So female Tetramans literally have to fight off men from marrying them. That's a can of worms right there.
You fought Luma and won.
She wasn't always that big.
So 14-year-old Kevin can defeat young Luma. I would have loved to see that fight.
It is an honor to lose to you.
Ben falls out of his transformation again.
And you knew this was happening?
Yeah.
Man, I really don't know how to feel about that. I wouldn't say it's out of character for Kevin to do this, but man, that is a huge dick move. He probably just knows Ben would be able to handle this situation though. But wow, he really just pawns off his fiance to Ben and then dips. What a guy.
Time to go. My ride's here.
That's a pretty useful device.
When you grow old.
His arms are down in this shot, but then it cuts to this one and they're raised again.
Well, that's it for now. We'll be back in 3 of your years.
And I bet Ben's still 16 then, because Omniverse people don't age. Ah, man, what an episode, huh? Tried to get rid of Gwen and Kevin, but you just can't. Ben 10 doesn't work without them. They're too much of a staple, so you gotta bring them back every now and then, and I loved this. The plot is a well-deserved 5. It had a very interesting concept alone. I liked the whole Tetraman mythology and Kevin scamming his way into getting something to help his car, which makes sense, because, you know, that car's been through hell and back. It was a humorous, non-arc-centered episode, but this didn't feel like they were just killing time to eat up slots of the season. This episode's great because it plays with a lot of the Ben 10 concepts that came before, and we get to see a mixing of the two worlds. We get to see how Gwen and Kevin have progressed off-screen, and then are now adapting to the new status quo of Omniverse. Like, they visit Undertown, they get to meet Rook. There's some really good interactions between Rook, Gwen, and Kevin all throughout the series. So this episode, while it's just a taste of it, it still sets a great standard that everybody gets along. strong, and Rook synergizes with the main trio so well. He is literally the perfect additional character to the core Alien Force team that we've loved for seasons upon seasons, which is also why the characterization is getting a 5 as well. Despite the new tone shift of Omniverse are more or less unchanged. Ben as a character, he does change in Omniverse, but Kevin and Gwen from the start of Alien Force all the way to the end of Omniverse are more or less the same characters. They do evolve and learn and grow. It's not like they're stagnant, but aside from a bad episode here and there is a lot more consistency between them. Luma is a great character. She wasn't that distinct, but I do think she's pretty interesting. She's very unique compared to a lot of the Ben 10 characters we've gotten before. Gar's pretty solid too. None of the Tetramans are really that three-dimensional, but they're still pretty enjoyable characters. I don't think they needed to be anything more than they were. And Argent was surprisingly inconsequential for an Argent appearance, but he was fine. Visuals, I already said, was a 5. Importance is a pretty easy 5 too. This ties a lot of things together from the major change of Omniverse's first season. It also sets up how the series will be treating Gwen and Kevin going forward. And Luma herself does return a handful of times too. And entertaining, we're gonna round this off with another 5. It's such a fascinating episode, both by the concepts and the execution. This is a very well-produced episode. It's got great action, it's got great humor, it's got great characters. It's everything you could want out of a Ben 10 adventure. And most importantly, it shows off all of the great things about Omniverse. So I will happily award many happy returns as the first 25 out of 25 of Omniverse's episode palette so far. Omniverse really makes their own mark on Kevin and Gwen, especially once we start visiting Friedkin University. Nonetheless, I'm happy with this. Let's move on to the final thoughts. I never noticed this myself, but the wiki says that the sound effects for OV Gwen's magic is the same one used in Classic. I'll throw a comparison in here right now just to see.
For Danica! Emocha Objectia!
Omniverse did have access to Classic's old sound library, which is why a lot of older sound effects returned, notably Ben's Omnitrix layout, but Classic Gwen's magic didn't have as distinct of a sound effect as her UAF powers do, which I prefer more anyways. We already tackled the last poll in the intro, so for this one, I want to ask y'all how you feel about Kevin and Gwen's involvement in Omniverse, and if you think they made a fair amount of appearances. Do you think they should have showed up a few more times? Did they show up enough? Should they have stayed as main characters from the start, or should they have stayed gone and let Ben and Rook shine in isolation? Let me know what you think in the community tab when this video goes live. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And as always, keep it fizzy.